And we are back with one final segment for today's Rex Reviews podcast. Lou McCoy, Casey Day, and TiborasaurusRex all together in the studio here on the sunny and windy Glass Beach, California. And it's been a lot of fun today, you guys. We've covered a lot of ground, and it brings us to the final portion of today's show where we ask an important question: what if? I'm going to turn things over to Casey Day now to ask that question.
All right, so we had kind of an interesting what if question today. It is, what if you are walking down in a rural area, now we're not in a city, out of town, you're walking down a road and a flying saucer lands right in front of you?
Oh boy. All right, Lou, you got to go first.
Oh, I got to go first, huh?
What kind of flying saucer? Metal? Lights?
Well, it's
orbs,
clearly an unidentified flying object that came from the sky.
It's a flying saucer, yes.
I would say
40 feet wide?
It's a large one. Let's go with
Not a little baby one?
Nope, not a baby saucer. Big
and it
saucer.
lands in front of you?
Lands in front of you, probably kind of crashy. So it's probably a few feet in front of you.
Oh, so it crashed in front of you?
Sure, let's go crash.
Oh, man, okay. All right, Lou.
Go.
Are we sure the question isn't what if we were in Roswell? Would that be a more appropriate what if question? So the spacecraft here, did they crash or did they land? I feel like that's an important aspect of the question.
I've never seen one land before. I guess I've never seen one crash before either, but in most of the movies they crash, so I'm going to go crash.
What would I do? I'd probably try to help them. I'd
All right, they're little gray aliens with little black eyeballs on their heads. You're going to try to help them?
Well, yeah.
You're not going to be worried about their alien germs or nothing, or what?
Why? No, of course not. Weren't we just talking about loving all life and all that stuff? And even if it's a different life form, you should try to help it, shouldn't you? And especially if they crashed, if they're at a point of peril or misfortune in their adventures because they didn't crash here on purpose.
You really are a nice guy, Lou. I didn't know this about you.
I may be a cursing heathen, but at the end,
a soft spot
he would be that good Samaritan, wouldn't he? See, I'd be the bad one. I'd be like, "You're an alien, dude. I'm not helping you."
I guess it's my natural curiosity and.
Oh, that would kick in.
Yeah, and I'd go out there with my little first aid kit and be like, can I help you guys? I don't know. I'd try to assist and help in the situation if possible. If indeed it was some sort of crash landing where they didn't intend to be here. If they intended to be here, that'd be an entirely different question. I'd probably do the same thing. I'd probably run right up to the craft and say, take me with you. Take me with you. I'm ready.
Right. What about you, Casey?
Oh boy. Crashed right in front of me. I will be honest, I would get to a safe distance where I could still see them, and then I'd sit there and watch. I definitely would escape and evade, but I'd want to keep an eye on it because, of course, my curiosity would kick in too. But I'm a little bit more cautious than Lou is, I guess. I don't want to walk right up to them because I don't know what they're going to do, and I can't help anybody if I'm dead. So I'd definitely escape and look from afar, see what happens, see if they are, if they're going to be doing anything violent, or if they come out, if they look like they need help, I might run out there. But until I know what they're up to or whatever, yeah, I'd scope it out. I'd be afar until I knew what they were planning on doing.
Now, what about you, Mr. Rex? I can picture it late night in the woods driving along, and all of a sudden there's this gigantic spacecraft in front of you. What does Rex do?
Oh man, I got the compulsive side of me from different angles, so I don't know what would happen. It would be infinitely variable based on exactly what was going on. But part of me would really want to go. And are these aliens all dead, or are they like squirming around, or what are they doing?
That's part of the what if, I believe.
See, if I could get me some alien spacecraft wreckage, I would load up. I would be like those guys in Africa when a plane crashes. Like every single part, I'd be the scavenger, man. I would every part of that airplane would be in my yard or in my hut. You know what I mean? I'd be like, all right, I don't know why. I just want alien metal, dude. You know how much fun I'd have with flying saucer parts? I don't even know what you could build with it, but I'd sell it on eBay. I wouldn't be so stupid as to sell them on eBay, but I would, have back channels, and I'd probably, sell these parts to certain government agencies through back channels to where they couldn't hose me over. I'd have, guys to cover me and all this so that I could make the deal and get the suitcase of money and all this, and probably would play with a lot of the parts. That's the compulsive part of me, though, see?
Because you'd want to figure out what it is.
That's kind of like the question, what would you do if you saw a duffel bag full of $100 bills on the side of the road? Well, I would grab it. That's what I would do. I would see that flying saucer as a duffel bag full of $100 bills. That's the compulsive, fleshly side of me that has not advanced to the higher thinking levels yet, right? I'd be super curious. If there was an alien squirming around, though, like dead bodies of aliens, man, I would be very cautious in terms of, like, contamination. I don't know. They got some alien flu or what?
But you'd be the first guy to ever die of the alien flu.
I would not be within any kind of danger range of a gray alien laying on the ground that's half alive. I don't even know what kind of brain power it has. What's it going to do, man? It could ever see that Village of the Damned? Remember that scary movie? I never should have watched that. It dented my soul. Like, these little kids are half alien kids, and then they can make you do bad stuff with their brains. They just look at you, and they all stand in formation. All got the same little white haircut and the red eyeballs. Really scary, classic old horror movie. They redid it in the 80s, I think, or the 90s. Village of the Damned. Yeah, so I wouldn't want to get close to an alien just based on the movies I've seen about them, because I've seen the scary alien movies. Now, if I would have watched more fun alien movies, maybe I'd have a different attitude. But yeah, I would either try to, if I couldn't get some of the wreckage and throw it in my truck and then go hide in the bushes or something, or I don't know, man.
So what if it wasn't a wreckage? What if it was a landing right in front of you? Does that change the situation?
Just lands and then parks there or what?
Yeah.
Anyone get out?
It's kind of a standoff until you make your move.
I'm a gawker. My mouth would be hanging open. I'd be trying to figure out what the heck it was. Yeah. I'm just being honest. I mean, I would like to say I have all these noble intents with the aliens and helping them. I would just steal all the alien parts, and it wouldn't be a pawn shop. I'd find someone that give me a lot of coin for that. I got bills to pay, man.
With that being said, you've got an interesting story about a UFO, don't you, Rex?
Yeah,
or a secondhand story.
A secondhand story. I know this guy. He's awesome. A tanker in the Marine Corps. He worked in an oil field for a long time. Real rough around the edges. Solid gold heart guy. Motorcycle gangs, stuff like that. Real cool guy. At any rate, he, back in 69, he's my dad's generation. He's an old guy. And back in 69, this is the story tells me, and I don't know if he's just really telling me a good one or what. But he swears that in 69, he was down by this butte in a certain area where he grew up, kind of real Badlandsy looking stuff, out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And he was in a place called Spooky Draw. And this flying saucer, just like out of the movies, was hovering right next to the butte. Okay, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind of situation. Big flying saucer. And this guy can tell a story. He tells a good one. He got out and he just stood there with his mouth hanging open, teenage kid, and his 57 Rambler or whatever the heck he was driving. And he had a 9-shot H&R revolver, and that's all he had in the glove box. And he had some ammo, 22 pistol, or 22 revolver. And he thought, yeah, wouldn't that be something if I could take this thing down? I would be the guy that shot down the UFO. And so he said he emptied his revolver at the UFO and it just didn't do nothing. And then he reloaded it and shot again. Then he stood there and his mouth was hanging open. They didn't have cameras back then, that you carried around everywhere. And then it jetted down south 10, 15 miles. And so he floored it in his car, chased it down. By the time he got there, boom, it shot off again. Another direction. So that's his story, man. I don't know what to I laugh the whole time he tells me that, but who knows? As a scientist guy, I have to be open-minded to any possibility, but I also, as a scientist guy, have to be super skeptical of everything. I will not believe it until I see it. However, I am still curious that it might be true. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
That's the scientific method properly applied to a UFO story. I'm skeptical, but I'm curious. Maybe it's true, but I ain't going to believe it until I maybe see it myself. Especially when, that's a good story.
Surely an interesting what-if question as always. And if anybody out there in listener land has a good what-if question that they'd like to hear us answer in future episodes of the show, feel free to contact us and send it our way. Many different ways you can contact us. Of course, we've got rexreviews.org up and running. Very spiffy looking site. You can find links to the YouTube page on there. You can find links to the SoundCloud. We've got the iTunes operational. And just be in touch. Give us your feedback, because that's kind of what makes this whole show go round, is you guys out there in listener land letting us know that you're actually listening and enjoying the show. Don't forget to subscribe to our mailing list on rexreviews.org. And of course, we welcome your feedback in any capacity, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to write us, email us, send us a flying homing pigeon, whatever your communication is like. Just be in touch.
I enjoyed reading the emails. I will try and get back to you as soon as possible. And of course, we will talk about the emails on the show as well.
Mr. Rex, any final thoughts for the day?
Thanks for hanging in there, guys. You're good sports, and thanks for the good fellowship with all y'all guys. We do like hanging out with you, and we know you're there, even though there's only 3 of us here on this beach today talking about this podcast situation. We know you're out there, and that's why we go through all the trouble of, taking our time off and doing this stuff, and it's just good to be with you guys.
Advancing the knowledge of humankind, one podcast at a time.
There we go.
And at the end of the show today, how full is that swear jar?
I don't know. Did we count?
I don't think we had any real swears. We had a couple,
I said F, but I didn't say the rest of it.
I think we did pretty well,
But that was a good one. That needed to be said, didn't it?
I think we cleaned up our act very well. This is now a family-friendly program.
Yep. And no, we appreciate the input, all the different flavors of input. So we are always open for correction, and we hope that all you folks are the same way as well, because we're all here to help each other out, man.
And that's the point of the human experience, is try to sharpen each other into better people for tomorrow.
Like iron on iron, man sharpens man, remember?
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, we appreciate your time joining us today for the Rex Reviews podcast. We look forward to your feedback, and we'll talk to you next time here on the show, where we discuss God, guns, and rock and roll. On behalf of Casey Day and TiborasaurusRex, I am Lou McCoy. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care out there, and we'll talk to you real soon.